There is nothing worse than slicing the driver. It's infuriating because you lose loads and loads of distance. You probably lose loads and loads of golf balls as well. And your confidence just slowly gets drained away from you. And you've heard it all before, and you've practiced it all before, and you've probably had lessons on it before as well. But what I'm going to do in this video today is going to precisely talk about, I would say, exactly the reason why golfers slice and exactly the reason why you are still continuing to slice the driver. First things first, if we sort of paint a bit of an obvious picture, when you're hitting the golf ball, your club face is too open. Okay, so it is for a right-handed golfer pointing to the right of the target when you are hitting the golf ball, and that's something that is just no good to anybody. But the question really then comes down to, well, how do you stop that from happening? Because I'm sure you've probably experimented with trying to close the club face previously equally. So what we need to do is we need to find what I would class as the root cause. So what is the fundamental problem that is actually causing you to slice the driver? Something which is known as width. Now, width is a really important thing, but what's probably more important to sort of visualize here is your sort of hand path. Okay, and that's how your hands are working in the space around you. And your hands are massively influenced by your spine angle. You see, when we get up and we go to hit the driver, the first thing that we do is we have to move the golf ball further forward in the stance. Okay, that's priority number one. Now, when we do that, this will naturally encourage an element of tilt, which essentially just means that my sort of right shoulder is dropped down to the side of me a little bit. Maintaining that tilt and rotating around that tilt effectively just means that the hands can work nice and wide. Okay, and that helps us control our angle of attack, and it helps us strike up on the golf ball. And when we are striking more up on the golf ball as opposed to striking down on the golf ball, it helps us close the face. Okay, so golfers that get good, nice high draws understand the importance of rotating around their spine, because it helps them hit up on the ball and gives them a better chance of closing the club face. Golfers that strike down on the golf ball are more vulnerable of leaving the club face more open. So the simplicity of what you need to work on, and what I would say a high proportion of golfers, in the 90% of golfers that struggle with driver, just don't do and don't have the confidence to do, is apply enough width. And the way you're going to do that is by just making sure that you introduce enough shoulder rotation. So turning your shoulders to 90 degrees in the backswing position is absolutely key for your ability to apply width in towards the golf swing. See, if I only turn my shoulders here to 70 degrees, like so, then my hands are always going to come down at a much narrower angle. And that means that I'm going to have to do things like stand up to add width, which is going to leave that club face too open. Whilst if I get my rotation and I turn to 90 degrees here, then as I start my downswing and I bring the club down, this is going to help me apply that width and get that natural closure on the club face that you don't seem to struggle with as much with all of the other golf clubs. So the key tip here is make sure that you are turning your shoulders towards 90. Without turning your shoulders towards 90, you will seriously lack that width in the golf swing, and without that width and the ability to control your hand path, you're always going to be inconsistent with the driver. You have to be brave with it, especially for golfers that are so used to staying very centered and very sort of still on the golf ball. But like I say, I promise you, when you start turning that little bit more, you're going to find hitting the driver so much easier. See you guys again really soon.